Everybody is a wondering what and where they all came from. Everybody is a worrying about where they're gonna go when the whole thing's done. But no one knows for certain, so it's all the same to me. I think I'll just let the mystery be. Some say once you're gone forever, and someday you're gonna come back. Some say you rest in the arms of the Savior if in sinful ways you lack. Some say that they're coming back in a garden, bunch of carrots and little sweet peas. I think I'll just let the mystery be. I think I'll just let the mystery be.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews. And no, your eyes do not deceive you. I mean, you clicked on it, so you know. But just to make sure, no, your eyes do not deceive you. This is me actually talking about The Leftovers. The last time that we talked about The Leftovers was March 20th, 2020. Can anybody guess the significance of that date? Well, March 20th was right there smack dab in the middle of the beginning of the fucking pandemic. I had just come back from the last comic book convention in America, less than a month prior. The whole country shut down. And I just couldn't get myself to continue with my regular programming. I think a lot of things for a lot of people, I know a lot of things for a lot of people got completely fucked. I started doing my 420 reviews in April because I just needed to do something completely different. I wanted to just kind of check out. I smoked a lot of pot, watched a lot of movies, met a whole bunch of new people, started playing on Twitch more, started doing viewing parties. A whole lot of things changed. I stopped doing like every single show that I had currently at that time been reviewing. And The Leftovers was one of them that really hurts. We were doing this and Doctor Who and Crime Story and Batman the Animated Series and Justice League the Animated Series, and it all just stopped. Now, I know that I have a history of being a little too ambitious for my own good, being kind of where I want to start something and don't, or I start something and don't finish because either I don't feel it anymore or I just got bored with it. But that's not the case with The Leftovers. And and I've been trying to build myself, like get myself psyched up to go back and finish this, talking about this amazing show. And we were going to. Back in February, I believe, maybe even January, I posted what's coming up on the channel. We did a channel update. I had taken a break in January to take a little mental health break. I came back strong. I had a whole bunch of like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. reviews done, and I was getting ready to just crank those out week to week. And I said, we're going to do Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We're going to talk about Invincible. We're going to have WandaVision. We're going to have Walking Dead coming back, and we're going to have The Leftovers, and we're going to have Doctor Who. And right as in that great big momentum that I had, I lost internet for 2 months. And in those 2 months, I got real down again because I had all this momentum. And when I came back, it was right to start A Handmaid's Tale. And so I just kind of sidetracked. I did one Invincible video, and then I never went back to The Walking Dead. I only missed, I think I missed the last couple. But we've had a lot of, growth on the channel in the last, since we got internet back, and I wanted to get back to some kind of normalcy on the channel. Start by talking about The Leftovers and finishing the Capaldi run on Doctor Who. So if you're watching this and you like both of those, that's also coming. I've been putting a little bit of work into trying to do something different this time around. And I mean, hey, back when I was doing these, I didn't even know how to make thumbnails. Which is crazy because I could put all sorts of music and everything else in there and I still couldn't figure out how to make a fucking thumbnail. And as you can see by the beginning of this video, I'm still fucking around with other things and trying new things and trying not to get copyright striked. Also, I wasn't monetized back then. So that's another change. When I found out that YouTube was running ads on my channel, you know, and not paying me for it, and I realized that, well, if they're gonna make money off of my channel, then I'm gonna monetize. Even though I had said I'm never gonna monetize, but when I realized that, I was like, fuck that. If anybody's making money off this channel, it's gonna be me. Not that I've never even been paid yet. I have yet to be paid because I just don't make that much. But hey, they're not getting paid either. Maybe they are and I don't know it. Who knows? I don't really care. And so, finally, what is this, June... what is June 21st? Is it? I think it's June 20. Yeah, it's June 21st, 2020. So over a year later, we finally return to The Leftovers Season 2. I had to rewatch my review for Episode 7, A Most Dangerous Adversary, before I even started watching this today. Because I needed a refresher. And so, welcome back, all of you that have been waiting for me to get back to these. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Again, if you're not a subscriber, please become a subscriber to the channel because we like to talk about stuff that makes us think about things. And this show certainly has a lot to talk about because a little refresher for anybody that's jumping in new to these. With watching these, and go back and watch the other ones. You can find them. I got playlists. They just don't have really good thumbnails. This is going to be the first one with a real thumbnail. I'm always drawn to things about that have kind of religious and faith and belief connotation, or not connotations, but like backgrounds, like stuff that's seeped in that kind of stuff. Because I don't really have a belief system. I grew up in a cult. It's fucked me up. We're going to be talking about that in July on my birthday. That's my birthday present to myself. A little bit of therapy through a video, I guess. But I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated by some of this stuff. And nothing fascinates me in this respect more like the Leftovers does. And in the last episode, Kevin played by Justin Theroux, in an effort to rid himself of the hallucination that is Patty Levens, played by Ann Dowd, the incredible Ann Dowd who plays Aunt Lydia on The Handmaid's Tale. He goes to a man played by Stephen Williams, who tells him, if you drink this, you have to die, you have to kill your adversary, which is Patty, and when you kill her, you'll get this like antidote and you'll come back and you'll be unburdened. But what happens is he takes the poison, he dies, and Stephen Williams, who's supposed to, bring him back, puts a gun in his mouth and blows his fucking brains out. It was one of the most shocking endings to any television episode I have ever seen. It floored me. I'm sure it floors everyone. Anybody who watches the show for the first time, well, it still floors me. Because it reminded me of the 6 Feet Under episode. Spoilers. Well, there's a death in 6 Feet Under near the end of the show. When it happens, or like not a death, but what looked like a death happens, and it blew everybody's mind. It was like, oh my God, this is not happening. And that's what this felt like going into this episode, which is International Assassin, episode 8. And I said in the previous review over a year ago that this is one of my favorite episodes of television of all time. So was the last one. In fact, all the episodes of almost every single episode of The Leftovers has got me like just, I love it. I love it so much. And so let's jump into talking about this, because this is a absolute fucking crazy ride. But I don't know. Where did Kevin go? You know? Because I don't believe in anything. I don't have any beliefs. Like, I don't know what happens when you die. To me, I just think there's nothing. I don't know. I can't be sure. Some people say you're, want to tell you like you're an agnostic or an atheist or whatever. I just don't know what's going on, and I don't believe in anything. I don't feel like anything that anybody's telling me is really right about anything. We just don't know. And I just don't have that kind of faith in any kind of institution or religion or anything like that. My money is on, this is it. We have to make the best of what we have. Try to be good along the way. Try not to hurt people along the way. Try. And so, like, I don't know where Kevin is. And he wakes up in a full bathtub in a hotel room, buck naked. It's a really great start, especially if, when you had to wait a week to watch this episode, having it start, the water's dripping, and he just comes out of the water like being reborn. I also want to mention how cut Justin Theroux is. Like, okay, look, I know that this is not uncommon for actors to be cut, to be ripped, to be worked out, to be in, good shape. But when is Kevin ever, when do you ever see Kevin working out that hard? Yes, I know he jogs, but he also smokes. Okay? We don't see him doing the kind of workout that would allow him to be that chiseled. And he is carved out of stone. Did you see the lines in this guy's body? I look at myself and I go, oh my God, if only I could. If only I had the discipline and the time to look like that. And I know I'm going off into the weeds, but I'm sorry. The guy is muy caliente, man. Holy crap. I mean, I'm straight as an arrow, and he's a good-looking man. Also, there's a song that's playing throughout this. It's Verdi's Va Pensiero. It also means the chorus of the Hebrew slaves. And follows and I'm reading the wiki, okay? Follows the plight of the Jews as they are assaulted, conquered, and subsequently exiled from their homeland. So what they're basically saying is that you could say that Kevin was exiled from his home, that being reality, and is longing to go back. There is a lot of symbolism around water in the episode, and Va Pensiero takes place on the river Euphrates. The person says that they could be looking for meaning where there is none. But hey, I'm sure that there are also, by the way, YouTubers who have gone way more in depth with this episode than I am going to here, because I'm going to give you my feelings on it, not just anybody else's, and we'll see where we go, because I don't quite know what I'm about to say here, because we're just covering it, and then we'll talk about what I think as we go along. So he's in this hotel room. One thing to know about this episode is, you could wonder, if you're starting this, does he know what happened to him? And Kevin is completely aware of everything that happened to him. The last thing he knows is he died. He drank poison and he died. And now he's in a hotel room where the TV's freaking out. And on the closet door, it says, know first who you are and then adorn yourself accordingly. And it's funny because, it's like you open it up and all the clothes are basically like personalities. Now there's the sheriff's outfit, there's a suit, there's a guilty remnant robes, and what looks like frat robes, like fraternity robes. I could be wrong. They have the Greek symbols on there. Maybe that holds some, maybe being part of a frat means something to Kevin. I will leave that up to the comment section to check that out for me. But he puts on the suit, right? And there's a knock on the door immediately. And there's a guy there. It's like the bellboy, bellhop. I don't know. I don't know hotels that well. I don't know what all the job titles are. There's a guy there with flowers, right? He says, Mr. Harvey? And he's like, no, Garvey. And he's like, no, it's Harvey. And he doesn't do anything about it. And when he tries to go get the guy money, which for some reason his wallet is full of euros, the guy walks in and immediately tries to kill him. And this is a really fast but close quarters, just brawl, just guys just beating the hell out of each other, just until Kevin's able to, he hits the guy. He knocks this guy hard against the kitchen, the countertop in the hotel, bam, and he just kills him. Right. So he leaves his hotel room. After this, right? He has no idea what's going on. He's completely bewildered. He goes downstairs. There's a bird loose in the hotel. And he's trying to find out who sent him flowers. He was trying to track down whoever is trying to kill him. Obviously sent the flowers to his room. And he's told to go to the concierge. And the concierge is Virgil, played by Stephen Williams. And again, yes, the great Stephen Williams. Again, I will always talk about how great Stephen Williams is, yes. And I'm also going to point to the X-Files poster behind me because as I say in all the other videos, it always goes back to the X-Files. Whenever I see somebody from the X-Files, I will bring them up. Or I'll bring that up. So he's like, Kevin goes up to the guy. He's like, oh, thank God, right? You know me. You sent me here. And the guy's like, I don't know what you're talking about, sir. But he seems cagey. And he hands him a piece of paper that says, parking garage, 5 minutes. Now, meanwhile, as on his way to the parking garage, Kevin looks outside and sees a young girl floating face down in the pool. And, being Kevin, he just charges into the water, grabs the girl, does CPR on her, brings her back. As the father of the girl comes out, or what you think is the father of the girl comes out, irate, angry that she, doesn't know how to swim and she should know better. And he's like, hey, take it easy, and he's like, mind your fucking business. This is our introduction, by the way, and since we're talking full spoilers, this is the child version of Patty. And he gets to the parking garage and gets to talk to Virgil, who tells him after he jumped in the pool, he's like, did you drink any of the water when you fell into the pool? Because you do not want to drink the water here. No, that never gets fully explained. And again, I will leave it up to the comments section to check me on that. Because when you drink the water, you forget who you are. Now, I don't know what kind of... it's got to have some sort of religious or biblical or mythological kind of tie to this of drinking of the waters that will make you not realize who you are or why you're there. You'll take on the persona of whatever job you have, right? So if Kevin were to drink the water, I'd imagine that he would literally think he was an international assassin. Um, and he's like, telling him like, you're an international assassin. You have to, he's like, are you fucking serious? He's like, look, you have to understand, like, you're thinking in straight lines. Your target, they're thinking in spirals, helixes, zigzags, and circles. And you find out his target is Patty. And she is here at the hotel for her campaign for president. Right? And that Kevin Harvey made a generous donation. He's allowed to have a meet and greet. And after he's checked for weapons, he'll be able to, meet Senator Levins. But that when he goes there, in the bathroom, there'll be a gun, Godfather style, and to not hesitate. Go in there, get the gun, and kill her because she will try to deceive you. Well, he asks Virgil, and this is a very important part, right? Because he doesn't really think about this right then. He's like, well, wait a minute. What are you doing here? Why are you even here? How are we even having this conversation? Because I had to die to do this, to have this opportunity to take care of this. So if I had to die to come here, how are you here? And he's like, well, what are you doing here? He should have followed up a little harder. Because he just says, I'm atoning. So he re-suits up. There's a new fresh suit in his, closet, in his hotel closet. He again sees the TV freak out. And what looks like his dad shows up on the television briefly. And he sees the girl who's actually Patty and her shitty dad, even though it's not really her dad, because nothing is what it seems here. Well, it is, and it isn't. But he's attacked by 3 men and handcuffed. And it turns out that these 3 men, all dressed in white, like the Guilty Remnant. This is like a different kind of Guilty Remnant. This is like, what if the Guilty Remnant had political power and had a candidate to run for president? Like they'd ever really, do that. The real Guilty Remnant probably would never get into politics. But for the sake of the international assassin aspect of the show, this is what's happening. And the person who's doing the vetting, because this is how they vet people, right? Is they torture you they give you a lie detector test, and if you don't give the right answers, you get like fucking bleach sprayed in your, like cleaning products sprayed in your mouth and eyes. And the person doing the torturing is Gladys, the one who was stoned to death in season 1. And that, you find out that he donated $50,000. And they want to know, like, why are you here? What do you want from her? And he's like, well, I just want to be in the same room with her. Which I was like, oh, God, you sound like you're a murderer. You sound like you're going to kill her, because they even talk about we have to be protective of her. And so when they ask him why he smokes, if he smokes, he says yes. Why do you smoke? And he's like, oh, because I'm addicted. That doesn't do it. They spray him again. He's like, I smoke because I want to remember that the world ended. And that's good enough for them. He gives them a straight answer. And so they say, okay, it's cool. You've done what, you're being truthful. Go on. Well, when he gets back up to his hotel room, we have, again, the TV freak out. And Scott Glenn's character, Kevin Sr., is back on the TV. And in the back, there's he's in a hotel room, but the hotel has got a fire in it. Not in a fireplace, actual fires just there. He's yelling at these Aboriginal, Australians keep the fire going. He's got, like make like paint on his face, like tribal paint, and he's yelling about, keep the fucking fire going. And he tells Kevin through the TV that I'm in Perth, Australia, which is foreshadowing for season 3. And he's all fucked up on God's tongue, so he's like tripping balls. He's basically, makes you wonder, right? Does Kevin's dad know what's happened to Kevin? And did he take like some kind of hallucinogen to try to send a message to his son that what he's supposed to do? Again, I have no explanation for all of this because since I don't believe in any of this kind of thing, I'm just kind of going with it. But is that what's happening? Or, because all of this, I'm taking what I'm seeing as it's all, I just have to, like I said, go with it. So Kevin's dead. He's in some sort of purgatory or something like that. And his dad is communicating to him. And if all this is really happening, right? If this isn't just in Kevin's head, which it very well may be, is his father communicating him through some sort of like bridge between life and death? And he's telling him that you need to be strong and you have to take her to the well. And he's just like, they say, I love you. And he's like, I love you too. And like in a really kind of interesting way. So on the way to see Patty, now that it's finally time to do that, there's this like perp walk happening as he's walking down, like, I would say like the insides of the hotel, the behind the scenes, like, where all the workers go. There's somebody wearing the sheriff's outfit with a hood on their head. Who is that? Because everybody here's dead. So who died? Again, we don't get all these answers, but I just love... part of me doesn't even need the answers. Part of me is just fascinated by all this, the just craziness. So he gets there and Gladys is there. Don't talk about gun control, abortion, or kneel. And when he tries to get into the bathroom to get the gun, Holy Wayne is sitting there on the toilet seat. And where did we see Holy Wayne last on this show? He was on the toilet in that restaurant where Kevin finds him and he dies. And Kevin's like, Kevin knows this. So when Holy Wayne is like, I know you, right? I think the last time I saw you was in the bathroom. He's like, yeah, I don't know, man. We don't know each other. I thought that was a really cool callback. And, he's talking about, well, I think what it is we're having deja vu. That our mind is taking, is mistaking a memory for a moment that we're living right now. And, the mind plays tricks. And what are tricks for? Tricks are for kids. I love that. I love it. I love that. It's just, I don't know. I'm a sucker for that kind of line. So Patty comes in. And, she's got her white suit on, but she's talking. There is none of this writing down on crap. I guess at the campaign senatorial level, you can't just get by on writing things down. You actually have to talk. And that there was credible intelligence of an assassination, and that is why all the rigmarole is going on. But why would somebody want to kill me? She's asking. Right? And is it because I stick to you, Kevin? Which is a line that they used prior about her being stuck to Kevin. Everywhere he goes, she's there. And she talks about assassins and how they've never been historically motivated by money or revenge. And I find this interesting. I find this really interesting because she's like, their targets' beliefs enrage the assassin, yet they secretly believe the thing that the target believes in. As if I hate you, I hate that you're like, they hate that they believe the same thing as their target so much that they have to kill the target to kill the belief that they have. Now, I know that that's not every assassin, right? Then she brings up John Wilkes Booth. And I don't know if this is true or not. I didn't look it up before I went on tonight here. But she says that John Wilkes Booth loved black people, hated slavery. I think I remember hearing something about the hating slavery part. But I could be wrong. And killed Lincoln anyway. And I guess she's trying to say that he really believed in Lincoln, what Lincoln believed in, but hated that he believed it. I don't know. So he asks, what is your truth, right? Because they're trying to get to it. Like, what is the thing that she believes that would have people wanting to kill her? And he just says, like, straight up, you want to destroy families. That's his truth. That's what he believes why someone would want to kill her. He's just coming right out and saying what he's thought the whole time. It's the pure, raw, unfiltered thought. Simple. Not some lengthy explanation. Just a few words that sum it all up. At the heart of what Kevin thinks the guilty remnant do. And it's biting. It's a biting thing to say. But she laughs and she goes, you're absolutely, look at all these people say this, that, and the other, and you just nailed it. And she admits it, that that's what we do. So it makes you like wonder, it starts to show the psychology. Well, I mean, we've seen all sorts of psychology of the guilty remnant, and we've seen, things about Patty. But this episode really, really explains Patty completely. Because as we start to break it down, she becomes such a sad, tragic character who had a very hard life. And then October 14th comes, and she saw this as an opportunity. And in her and this is, look, I'm not going to be able to fully explain this right away because there's going to be plenty of other ideas and thoughts on this. And I would love to hear what you all think about it. Because these are just I'm going to try to be as simple as I can about it because I'm sure that a lot of you could go into way more detail. Right? But that, she talks about a guy who at one of her rallies has his baby out, and she thinks she's got to kiss it, but he hands it to her and walks away, and they couldn't find him, and now the baby's in an orphanage, and it's going to have difficulty finding attachment and love, but that's perfect because that gives it strength because, and it's a survival mechanism now, and it's actually perfect for the way things are now, because on October 14th, attachment and love became extinct. And that it is for sure now ingrained in our brains that you can lose anyone at any fucking time. That our cave has collapsed, which brings up the very of seeing the cave woman leave her cave and it caves in behind her. That was her cave collapsing. The loss of all of that how fragile life is. And that, through this, we can transform. Then she asks, how did you hear about the guilty remnant? And he's like, well, my wife left me. That didn't help. And she's like, oh, yeah, that's got to hurt. And he's like, well, probably about as bad as it hurt when Neil left. And it was just, it came out of nowhere. Again, he knows he's not supposed to bring it up, but it's almost like he couldn't help but just throw one in her face because he hates her. He's trying to get through this. He's trying to play it the way he needs to play it, but he couldn't help himself. And he had to throw that out there. And Gladys is like, all right, interview over. And she's like, no, that's okay. But hey, Holy Wayne, shoot this motherfucker in the face, who just instantly turns into a laser beamed killer and goes to kill Kevin. She's like, oh my God, all of you, take it easy. Take it easy. I'm practically I'm at 34 minutes, man. Holy shit. I took a lot of notes, guys. Because he's like, no hesitation, tries to kill her, kill him. Well, they go to get ready to take the picture because this is the end of the interview, right? He's gotten his 5 minutes, and he goes to the bathroom, right? He gets the gun, puts the silencer on, coughs, right? When he cocks it, which is a pretty cool move. And with no hesitation, really, he just takes a breath. He goes out, he kills Holy Wayne, he kills Gladys, and Patty starts screaming, I'm not her! I'm not her! And he remembers, she's going to deceive you. But she's like, I'm a body double, and they took me and they gave me plastic surgery and, and everything else. But it's not possible. Wherever this is, there was no plastic surgery done. Who is this person? I don't know. It's some sort of fake out, I guess, but he doesn't care. He just says, goodbye, Patty, and blows her head off. And he said it the same way he did before when he's like, goodbye, Patty, thinking he was saying, when he took the poison. And he thinks that this is it. He thinks this is the moment. He closes his eyes and he starts to kind of like vibrate a little, like, come on. But it doesn't happen. So he goes back downstairs to the concierge, and it's to Virgil. And he's like, why am I still here? I did everything you told me to do. And the guy, he has absolutely no idea what he's talking about. And he also kills the bird very brutally with a book or something, like it looked like a trapper keeper, actually. Some sort of whatever. It doesn't matter. But it turns out that Virgil drank the water. He goes, I was so thirsty. And so Kevin just gets in the elevator and starts going back up to his room. And there's the dad in the hallway just sitting there saying that he got locked out of his room and he's drinking whiskey. And Kevin's key won't work. And so he decides to sit down and have a drink with this guy. And this is when it's revealed who this guy really is. Because he's like, hey, what do you do? I'm an international assassin. And this guy's like, oh, great, you don't have any kids. You don't have a wife. You don't have responsibility. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You can be an international assassin. You get to kill people without, remorse or consequences. And you get paid to do it. And all I could think of at this point was, these are all the things that Kevin left behind. Wife, kids. Well, him and Nora aren't married, I don't think. But, oh God, I can't even remember if they're married. I don't feel like they're married. But he's left all those things behind. And here's this guy telling him, you've got the life. And is this the life that Kevin, like when we talk about what is Kevin running from? It seemed like he was running in season 1 around the time that his marriage was falling apart and October 14th happened, and he was looking for an out, right? It felt like. And this guy's confronting him with, these are the things that you can, because you're an international assassin, you could just leave. You don't have to have these responsibilities. And I feel like in this moment, Kevin realizes that he does want all those things. And this guy, he knows he's dead. And the only reason that he's talking about how nobody here knows who they are anymore, he's fine because he's drinking whiskey. And since he's an alcoholic, right, he's going to be fine. He's remembering all this. And you find out that this is Neil. This is Patty's dead husband, who choked on some chicken. And he's like, you think that's a little girl in my room? And he says, you should have let that fat see you next Tuesday drown. And that's too much for Kevin, because Kevin's now seeing all these different sides to Patty. And he kills Neil, chokes him, and breaks his neck. Now, what happens to a person who's in this place and then dies again? Like, double fake Patty, Gladys, Holy Wayne. Where do you go when you kill somebody in this place? Is whatever this place is it in Kevin's head? Does it not matter? Or if it's a real metaphysical place, where would those people's souls go? And again, they don't answer it. And again, I don't need an answer, but it's like it makes my brain go pow. So he opens the door, and there's little Patty with a piece of paper like pinned to her shirt that says, I need to keep my mouth shut. And this little girl breaks my heart, because she's talking like an adult, and she's one of the most adorable little girls ever. You know, hi, Kevin. And so they go back to Virgil at the concierge desk looking for a well. They find one that's in Jordan, Texas. When she leaves, it's almost like, I don't know if she's trying to get Virgil to help her or not, but she's like, he's gonna throw me in. And Virgil just says, well, I hope you bring your swimsuit, honey. And it's called the Orphan's Well. And its legend is that it's a conduit between the living and the dead. And when he gets her to the well, you know, we really find out that she's been abused all her life. Right? And at this well, you toss things in that burden you, and then it's supposed to be, you know, everything goes away. And I guess that would be Kevin's guilt over letting Patty kill herself, amongst other things. And you get they meet this guy on the bridge, and I need somebody to refresh my memory on who that guy is, because he attacks Kevin, puts a noose around his neck, tells him he can jump or cross, and that you're about to kill a kid. He's like, that's not a kid. And he's like, yeah, it is. And he's like, well, none of this is real. And he's like, this is more real than anything, right? More real than it's ever been. And he whispers something to him, and we don't know what that was. And I can't remember if we ever find out. I really want to know, though. And so they get her to the well here. And she's just saying, you know, like, you want to push me? You want to drop me? Pushing's easier. And he's having a hard time with this. And she's like, well, why? And he's like, it's hard because I feel sorry for you. And she's like, well, I deserve it. And she starts saying all the horrible things that people have said about her, mostly probably Neil. And other people, too. People are horrible sometimes. A lot of people are horrible to people, other people. There's a lot of forms of abuse, and Patty has been abused her whole life. She was made into this. And October the 14th made her into something else. It freed her from Neil. It freed her from a lot of things. But it also made her want to destroy, like she said, I destroy families. This was her opportunity. And in mid-sentence, Kevin casually, it's kind of crazy how just casually he just pushes her in. But she's not dead. Adult Patty's voice calls out, and he falls in. He tries to climb down, he falls in. And she's there, beaten up, bloody. He's bloody too, because he takes a knock. And she tells him the story about how she was on Jeopardy. And the plan was to win $50,000 so that she could leave Neil and start over, have something for herself. She talks about the person who was the reigning champ, how that person didn't talk to her in the green room, and that there's a power to silence. And that is really true. I'm not giving anybody anything. And I have to admit that I occasionally use silence to let people know what I think of them. It's not the nicest thing in the world to do. But when there are certain people that I don't want to deal with, I completely shut down on that person. And I give them absolutely nothing. Not even a word out of my mouth. And I understood that what she was saying in that moment. There's a power to silence. But she talks about how she won. She won 3 times and won $65,000, and she didn't leave him. After all of that, after everything she did to get away, she didn't leave, which is also a thing that's hard for a lot of people to do. Even in abusive relationships, in toxic relationships, you know, as no-brainer as it is for many people to think, just leave. There's a certain psychology to all of that. You become, I don't want to be completely, I'm stuttering now like an idiot. I've seen it before, and it's not easy for people to leave people, even in the worst toxic relationships. And you can't tell people to leave. You can, they'll ask you for your advice, but in the end, it's like an addiction in a way. But she says, "I'm scared, Kevin." Kevin kisses her forehead, embraces her. Meaningfully, truthfully, honestly. He wanted to. And then he holds her under the water and drowns her, weeping the entire time. Because this is hard for him, this is horrible, and as much as it is necessary and a mercy at this point, it's not, like in the end, what Kevin wanted to do, right, was just get rid of her. But knowing everything about her now changes things. Just like the guy said on the bridge, if you kill this when you kill somebody, when you kill this person, it's going to change you. And as she dies, an earthquake happens, and everything's shaking, and suddenly, as it looks like Kevin's trying to climb out of the well, we see him climbing out of a shallow grave, back in reality. And Michael is standing there as he's coming out of this grave, like alive. He's buried him. I think he's got all his stuff sitting there, right, in case, but I don't think he actually believed it would happen. And all he can say is, "Holy shit." And that's how episode 8 ends. Like I said, this is one of my favorite episodes of all time. And I know I went on for a while, and it's probably, this would have been shorter if I hadn't done the whole thing at the beginning. But coming back was kind of a big deal, and I don't mind this video being longer than normal. And I don't expect a lot of people to watch this. But I really wanted to start talking about this show. And for those of you who do like this show and love this conversation and the conversations we have in the comment section about it and all that, and reliving it and hearing other people's opinions about it, we will be back with episode 9. Sooner rather than later. We're not going to be waiting no, year to get to the next episode. And so If you like this video, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications. If you hated everything I said, you hate watched this thing and just wanted to hear me talk, well, we can give you the last 50 minutes of your life back with a different memory. And here we go. So everybody who liked this, please look away or put on sunglasses. For those of you who hated it, please look right here. You just watched that video where the infant got cochlear implants and heard her sister's voice for the last time, causing her to giggle uncontrollably. Have a great night, everybody. See you on the next video. Bye.